2025's most terrifying predictions unfold. This is not a drill. Listen closely. This isn't fear-mongering. It's not just another end times prediction video. This is a mirror held up to our collective future. As we step into 2025, warnings are no longer whispered in shadows. They're shouted by the rhythms of nature, the words of ancient sages, and the algorithms of modern science. These are not coincidences. Most will scroll past, dismissing the signs as noise in an already chaotic world. But you've chosen to pause, to listen, to seek what others refuse to see. What you're about to hear may shake your comfort, challenge your beliefs, and possibly awaken something long asleep within you. The world is changing faster than we think, and perhaps faster than we're ready for. So before we dive into the most chilling predictions unfolding in 2025, take a moment. If this message stirs something in you, like, share, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. These small actions can ripple outward, because this truth needs to reach those who are ready to hear it. This is not a drill. Let's begin. Number 1. Celestial Phenomenon and Prophecy. What's approaching in 2025 is not just another date on the calendar. It's being seen by many as a moment of profound cosmic importance, one that might mark a major shift in how we understand the world and our place in it. While our modern lives are filled with constant distractions and the fast pace of daily routines, there's an ancient rhythm still pulsing beneath everything, a rhythm written in the stars. Across time, mystics, astrologers, and even scientists have observed how celestial events seem to align with pivotal moments in human history. This year, a rare planetary alignment is predicted, drawing intense attention not only because of its rarity, but because of the weight of meaning that cultures across generations have placed on such occurrences. Among those whose visions are now being revisited is Baba Vanga, the enigmatic Bulgarian mystic whose predictions have, time and again, stirred public imagination. She spoke of a celestial event that would act as a last great warning, a wake-up call to humanity. As this alignment draws near, many wonder if it's the very event she foresaw, and if so, what exactly we are being warned about. While skeptics may brush these prophecies aside, history teaches us not to underestimate the influence of cosmic events. From the Tunguska explosion in 1908, which remains unexplained to this day, to the mass hysteria sparked by Halley's Comet in 1910, humanity has often responded with fear and awe when the skies behave in unfamiliar ways. More recently, the blood moon tetrads brought widespread spiritual speculation, as millions debated whether we were entering a time of biblical or metaphysical significance. These aren't merely superstitions, they're reflections of how deeply we are connected to the cosmos, even in this era of digital dominance. And now, with 2025 on the horizon, we're once again being confronted with a moment that feels charged, meaningful, and heavy with possibility. Some theorists believe that this planetary alignment may catalyze dramatic shifts on Earth, economic collapse, political upheaval, and perhaps even environmental crises that force us to reckon with the damage we've done. This isn't just about doom and gloom, though. Think of it instead as a cosmic reset, a chance for humanity to realign not only with the stars, but with our own better nature. Just as ancient civilizations like the Mayans and the Hopi left records of times when the heavens signaled renewal and rebirth, this moment can also be seen as an invitation to wake up spiritually, socially, and environmentally. In our current world of instability and division, it's easy to feel powerless, but these teachings suggest the opposite, that within each of us lies the ability to shift course, to listen more closely, and to live more consciously. So what does this mean for our everyday lives? It's a call to slow down and pay attention, not just to the skies, but to what's happening around us and within us. It's a time to reconnect with what truly matters: compassion, clarity, and community. Instead of reacting with fear, we can respond with intention. Rather than clinging to outdated systems that are already showing cracks, we can start creating new ones that honor balance, justice, and care for the Earth. Whether or not the planetary alignment triggers dramatic external changes, it can certainly serve as a catalyst for internal transformation. That, perhaps, is the real message behind all these prophecies, not a threat, but an opportunity. As the universe moves through its cycles, so too can we. The stars may not control our fate, but they do reflect it, and in their light we can find the wisdom to walk forward with awareness, courage, and grace. Number 2. Nostradamus' prophecy on leaders. Let's talk about something that's got many people on edge. Nostradamus' prediction about world leaders in 2025. Now, you've probably heard of him, the mysterious French seer from the 16th century whose predictions have echoed through history. This time, he warns of the unexpected downfall of major global figures, leaders losing power suddenly, betrayals erupting from within, and even the death of a highly influential figure that could send shockwaves across the entire world. It's not just a vague idea. According to Nostradamus' writings, this shift won't be gentle. It'll be sudden, disruptive, and deeply felt across nations. Now, ask yourself, what would happen to global stability if even one of today's most powerful leaders vanished from the world stage? Would alliances crumble? Would economies spiral into uncertainty? Would people rise up or fall into despair? This isn't the first time Nostradamus has shaken the world with his uncanny foresight. He predicted the Great Fire of London in 1666, the rise of Napoleon, and even the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, events so precise in his verses that many still study them with awe. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, his track record is hard to ignore. So when he points to 2025 as a year of great political upheaval, it's worth paying attention. One of the most haunting parts of his writings hints at internal betrayal, the kind that doesn't come from enemies but from within a leader's own circle. That raises the question, are today's global leaders truly secure, or are they sitting on thrones made of sand? Consider the idea of a power vacuum, a sudden disappearance of leadership. What comes next? Nostradamus' words suggest that in the aftermath of these downfalls, a new figure could rise, but not just any leader. A shadowy, possibly authoritarian figure who emerges from the chaos, feeding on the instability of broken systems. Could this be a warning about where unchecked power and global disunity might lead us? Could it be that 2025 is not only a year of endings, but also a beginning of something entirely different? Something we're not yet prepared for? History gives us many examples of this exact pattern. Great empires collapsing under the weight of their own ambition, corruption, or internal fractures. The Roman Empire, once invincible, fell because of inner decay and overexpansion. The Ottoman Empire declined slowly, torn between modernity and tradition. When we zoom out, we can see the same pattern forming today. Are we repeating those mistakes? Are current global powers nearing their tipping point? And more importantly, what role do we, the people, play in shaping the aftermath? If there's one thing we can learn from prophecies, it's not just about predicting doom. It's about preparing wisely. Whether or not you believe in Nostradamus, the message here is clear. No system is permanent, no leader invincible. The world changes when we least expect it. So how do we prepare, not in fear, but with awareness and wisdom? What can we do to strengthen our communities, hold our leaders accountable, and ensure that transitions, if they come, lead to peace instead of chaos. Here's the lesson. Change is inevitable, but how we respond determines the future. Nostradamus may have seen a storm coming, but storms can be survived with calm minds, clear eyes, and compassionate hearts. Stay informed, stay grounded, and always ask yourself, how can I be a force for good when the world begins to shift? What are your thoughts on this? Could the fall of a leader open the door for better things, or something far worse? Number 3. Natural disasters looming. Let's talk about something that's both fascinating and frightening. One of the most intense predictions for 2025, and it's something we can't ignore, the growing threat of a massive natural disaster that could change life as we know it. Scientists around the world are raising red flags as they monitor increased seismic activity in areas like the Yellowstone supervolcano in the United States and Campi Flegrei in Italy. These aren't just any volcanoes. They're the kind that, if they erupt, don't just shake the ground beneath our feet, but potentially send shockwaves through every part of our lives. You might be wondering, why are experts so concerned right now? It's because the ground around these sites is showing signs of restlessness. Swelling earth, rising gas emissions, and a pattern of small earthquakes that hint at something larger building beneath the surface. And while we've seen volcanic eruptions before, we've never had to face the full force of a supervolcano in our modern, globally connected world. What would happen if one of them erupted in 2025? Let's explore that together, because it's not just about lava and ash clouds. A large-scale eruption could send so much ash into the atmosphere that sunlight would be blocked, cooling the planet in what scientists call a volcanic winter. Have you heard of Baba Vanga, the mysterious blind seer from Bulgaria? One of her eerie predictions spoke of a great darkness covering the sky. Could this be what she meant? It's chilling to consider. When Mount Tambora erupted in 1815, it caused the infamous year without a summer. Crops failed, temperatures plummeted even in the middle of summer, and people around the world struggled with famine and disease. Now, imagine something even more powerful happening today, when our food systems, economies, and daily lives are more interconnected and fragile than ever. How would we cope with a breakdown of agriculture, a collapse in supply chains, or waves of people fleeing uninhabitable areas? But let me ask you, do you think we're ready for something of that magnitude? Have we learned enough from the past? Or are we too focused on short-term comforts to prepare for long-term survival? It's easy to scroll past these warnings and think, it won't happen to me. But history teaches us that nature has its own timeline, and it doesn't wait for us to be ready. We can't control the Earth's tectonic forces, but we can choose how we respond. This moment invites us to reflect on our relationship with nature and how we treat the planet that sustains us. Are we really listening to the warnings it's giving us? Or are we too distracted to notice the signals? Personally, I think this is a call, not to panic, but to pay attention. These signs don't just ask us to prepare logistically with emergency plans or supplies, but to shift our mindset. What kind of world are we building? Are we creating systems that can withstand shocks, or ones that will crumble at the first tremor? There's a deep emotional truth here. Sometimes it takes the threat of collapse to remind us of what truly matters: community, compassion, and cooperation. These aren't just nice ideas, they're survival strategies. So before we brush off these predictions as distant possibilities, let's really consider, what would you do if the skies did grow dark? What values would you carry through the storm? Let's not wait until disaster forces us to ask these questions. Let's start asking them now. If you've watched up to this point, you're already ahead. Facing the truth most people ignore. Comment below with "Awake in 2025" to show you're ready to face what's coming with clarity and courage. Don't click away yet. There's still more to uncover. Stay until the end to see how these predictions might affect your future and what you can do to prepare. Number 4. Rise of artificial intelligence. As we move closer to 2025, the rise of artificial intelligence is no longer just a futuristic concept. It is unfolding right before our eyes, and the warnings from centuries past, like those of Nostradamus, feel increasingly relevant. His cryptic words about machines surpassing human capabilities might have once sounded like myth or metaphor, but today they resonate with real-world urgency. AI is advancing at a staggering pace, not just in processing power or data analysis, but in its capacity to make decisions, learn on its own, and even influence the human world in ways we're just beginning to grasp. This rapid progress raises one pressing question that echoes through boardrooms, classrooms, and living rooms alike. Are we truly in control of what we've created? Or are we nearing a tipping point where artificial intelligence begins to operate beyond human comprehension or intervention? Experts have long warned of what's called the technological singularity, a moment in time when AI becomes so advanced that it escapes our ability to guide or regulate it. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's a genuine possibility that looms ever closer, and with it comes both the promise of incredible advancements and the shadow of profound disruption. For some, AI brings the hope of a golden age, solving complex global problems, managing healthcare systems, eliminating tedious jobs, and perhaps even governing with more logic and fairness than flawed human institutions. But for others, this future is laced with unease. There is growing concern about a scenario in which humans become obsolete, their roles in society diminished or replaced entirely by machines. These fears are not unfounded. Even now, we see algorithms quietly shaping our choices, from the ads we see to the content we consume. Autonomous machines are writing news articles, generating synthetic videos, creating art, and even producing realistic human voices, sometimes so convincingly that it's difficult to distinguish what is real from what is artificial. By 2025, AI may no longer be seen as just a tool that serves us, but rather a force that influences, guides, or even controls the fabric of society itself. The concern deepens when we consider how AI could affect global power structures. What happens when artificial intelligence starts to control financial markets, predict and manipulate elections, or even command military operations with cold, calculated precision? If we allow machines to govern crucial aspects of life without clear ethical boundaries, do we risk handing over our agency? We must ask ourselves, where is the human heart in a system run by code? These questions may seem overwhelming, but they point us toward a deeper truth. We must not let convenience blind us to responsibility. While embracing AI's benefits, we also need to cultivate awareness, develop frameworks that place ethics before efficiency, and ensure that human values remain at the core of any technology we adopt. In modern life, where speed and innovation often come before reflection, the rise of AI is a powerful reminder of the need to pause and ask not just, can we, but should we? Whether you're working in tech or simply navigating the digital tools in your daily life, your awareness matters. We can't all be engineers, but we can all be conscious citizens, Take time to understand the tools you use, question the information you receive, and support policies that protect human dignity. As Buddhist wisdom teaches, when change comes quickly, the only anchor is mindfulness. We must stay awake, aware of both the light and the shadow of this transformation, so that we are not swept away by the current, but can walk with clarity into the future we are creating together. Number 5. Economic collapse warning. Right now, there are serious conversations happening behind the scenes among economists, financial analysts, and geopolitical strategists that you might not hear about in the headlines. But their warnings are getting louder. 2025 might bring an economic shock that shakes the entire world to its core. When we talk about a potential collapse, we're not just throwing around fear for clicks. We're talking about real signs: skyrocketing inflation, unstable markets, record-breaking debt, and the slow crumbling of the traditional financial systems we've relied on for decades. The questions we need to ask ourselves are uncomfortable, but necessary. What happens when the money we've always trusted loses its value? What if your savings, your job, your investments suddenly mean nothing? That's the storm cloud many experts believe is forming over the global economy. Some even wonder, did visionaries like Nostradamus or Baba Vanga glimpse something like this? Their prophecies, often dismissed or romanticized, now feel eerily close to what economists are now saying with data and charts. According to these predictions and patterns, we may be inching toward a scenario where the global financial order doesn't just stutter, it crashes. Think about it. What would happen if a major global power like the US or China defaulted on its debts? It could trigger a chain reaction across nations, causing stock markets to plummet overnight, wiping out pensions, collapsing banks, and leading to mass unemployment. In today's interconnected world, one domino doesn't fall alone. It brings the entire structure down with it. And here's something to think about. While our attention has been pulled in every direction, politics, climate, technology, the world of finance has been quietly transforming. The rise of digital currencies and decentralized finance is shaking the foundations of traditional banking. This isn't just about Bitcoin or Ethereum. Entire economies are exploring central bank digital currencies, and some are even trying to move away from the US dollar entirely. Are we prepared for a world where paper money becomes obsolete, where the banks you've known your whole life might disappear in a few years? And, more importantly, will this shift empower people or leave millions behind, confused and vulnerable? It's happened before. The Great Depression in 1929 was a wake-up call that changed the world forever. The 2008 crash taught us that even the strongest economies can bleed. But here's the difference with 2025. Things are moving faster now. Global trade, technology, digital finance, they all operate at the speed of light, which means a collapse could happen with terrifying speed, and before we even realize what's happening, the rug might already be pulled out from beneath us. Are we paying attention? Or are we too distracted to notice the cracks forming right beneath our feet? This isn't about doom, it's about awareness. When systems collapse, people suffer most when they're unprepared. But when you stay informed, stay grounded, and stay connected to what truly matters, you become part of the solution. So ask yourself, if everything you depended on financially were to change tomorrow, how would you respond? What truly gives you a sense of security and peace? Is it money or something deeper? Skills? Relationships? Community? inner wisdom? Let's take this moment to reflect, not just on the potential crisis, but on how we live, on what we depend on how we might support one another if times get hard. Maybe this is the wake-up call we need, not to panic, but to prepare with clarity and compassion, because even in the darkest times, it's not just about survival, it's about how we rise, how we rebuild, and how we remember that true wealth is found not in what we keep, but in what we give. Lesson: the systems we trust are fragile, but our inner resilience is not. In times of uncertainty, cultivate wisdom, build community, and never lose sight of what truly brings peace and purpose to your life. Thank you for watching today's video. The future might seem uncertain, even frightening, but you're not alone in navigating it. We're grateful to have you here as part of this growing community. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What prediction surprised you most? Or how do you feel about what's ahead? If you're new, just drop a comment saying, "I'm new to the journey." And if you've been with us for a while, let us know by saying, "I'm walking with wisdom." Your voice matters. Your presence keeps this channel alive. Let's keep walking this path together, one insight at a time. When the world trembles, be still. Buddhist wisdom for 2025. When the world around us seems to tremble, when predictions about 2025 stir anxiety with warnings of environmental disasters, broken systems of leadership, runaway technologies, or economies teetering on collapse, Buddhist wisdom offers not fear, but stillness. Rather than being swept away by panic or helplessness, Buddhism gently calls us inward to the one place that remains steady no matter how loudly the world shakes: the mind. As the Buddha taught, mind is the master, mind is the creator. If you speak or act with an impure mind, suffering follows you as the wheel follows the hoof of the ox that pulls the cart. This timeless reminder helps us see that our inner world shapes our experience far more than the circumstances themselves. The storms outside might rage, but the true cause of our suffering or peace lies in how we relate to them. In a time when people feel powerless, turning to the mind is not weakness, it is the wisest form of strength. As institutions we once trusted begin to show cracks, governments in disarray, economic models failing to support the many, artificial intelligence replacing meaningful labor, it is tempting to resist, to fight against the flow of change. But the Dharma teaches something profoundly counterintuitive and healing, that impermanence is not our enemy, but a teacher. The Buddha did not ask us to cling to a world that is always shifting. Instead, he asked us to recognize that all things arise and pass away. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, thanks to impermanence, everything is possible. When we truly grasp that nothing lasts forever, not fear, not joy, not success, not hardship, we begin to let go of false securities. We stop investing our deepest trust in unstable things like wealth, status, or even comfort, and begin to anchor our lives in timeless values: mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Ask yourself honestly, what have I been leaning on, and what happens when that support wobbles? These times are not punishments, they are invitations to build our foundations on something deeper than the surface. Buddhism never taught that peace comes from controlling the chaos around us. Instead, peace is cultivated by transforming how we see, think, and act. In a world where technology races forward, while empathy sometimes lags behind, and nature responds to our excesses with floods, fires, and droughts, the Buddhist path offers clarity. not by escaping reality, but by embracing it with clear eyes and an open heart. We return to ourselves not to hide, but to awaken. A simple life, grounded in mindfulness and contentment, becomes not only possible, but powerful. Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship, said the Buddha. When everything outside is unpredictable, the person who lives with awareness becomes like a mountain, unmoved by storms, but not disconnected from them. This is not the stillness of avoidance, but the stillness of presence. Dhammapada verse 183 reminds us of the essence of the path. Do no evil, cultivate good, purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. These 3 lines are more than moral guidance. They are a blueprint for spiritual survival. Whether the forecasts of 2025 prove accurate or not, the real danger is not what might happen in the world, but what is already happening within us. When people lose themselves in greed, anger, and delusion, society becomes brittle, and the soul forgets its depth. We don't need to wait for collapse to begin healing. We can begin now, today, by shifting how we live. Instead of letting fear dictate our actions, let's use these warnings as a bell of mindfulness, a chance to return to what truly matters. Build communities that uplift, friendships that nourish, and daily habits that reflect your values. Reduce excess and let your heart feel more. In a culture that often tells us to buy more to be more, choosing simplicity is an act of courage and clarity. Lama Zopa Rinpoche once said, "Happiness and suffering do not exist outside the mind." The world doesn't need more consumption, it needs more compassion, and that begins within each of us. No, we cannot control how the stars align, how markets move, or what machines will do next. But we can choose how we live. We can train the mind to be spacious instead of reactive, the heart to be kind instead of closed. When outer structures fall apart, the inner strength we have built becomes our real wealth. In the darkness, a conscious being becomes a light, not only for themselves, but for others who are still stumbling. This is not about survival alone. It's about transformation. The one who meets difficulty with clarity and compassion becomes an example, an inspiration, a refuge for others. It is said in the Zen tradition, "Let your mind be like the moon in a still lake, clear, calm, and reflecting all things without being disturbed." This is not a distant ideal, but a real possibility when we commit to practice. So if you're hearing this today, let it reach deeper than your ears. Let it settle in your heart. Every crisis you face is a moment to come home to yourself, not just to endure, but to evolve. The Dharma does not promise safety in the way the world defines it. It doesn't say that bad things will never happen, but it does offer a way to remain undisturbed, to love more deeply, to act with intention, and to find joy in simplicity. That is a safety no one can take away. The teachings of the Buddha are not ancient relics. They are living truths, perfectly suited for these times. In a shaking world, the still heart becomes the strongest force. Let that be your path forward. In a time when uncertainty seems to grow louder with each passing day, may we remember it is not fear that guides the wise, but awareness. The predictions for 2025, whether they come from ancient prophecies or modern science, are not here to paralyze us, but to wake us up. Let them be a reminder to slow down, to reconnect with what truly matters, and to become the kind of people the future will thank not for what we feared, but for how we responded. At the journey of wisdom, we believe every crisis holds the seed of transformation. If today's message stirred something in you, Please support the work by liking this video, sharing it with others, and subscribing to our channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss what's coming next. We have much more to explore together. Stay grounded, stay compassionate, and remember, when the world trembles, be still. From stillness comes wisdom. Until next time, peace on your path.